Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion, Will Blackman.
Manning from the end zone. He throws, and a deflect away, and it is picked off by Will Blackman, the former Giant.
Tim Dwight watches it hit, bounces, picks it up at the 10, slips a defender, fumbles the football, it's up for grabs, it's covered in the end zone by Will Blackman for a Green Bay touchdown!
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Ric Bucher.
Ric Bucher.
Welcome to another episode of Bucher and Blackman, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast Network. I'm Ric Bucher. You can see me on FS1, you can read me on Bleacher Report, and you can follow me on Twitter at Ric Bucher and on Instagram at Ric_Bucher. He's Will Blackman, Super Bowl champ, NFL vet. You can see him on FS1, and you can follow him on Twitter at Will Blackman, and you can now follow him on Instagram as well, also at Will Blackman. Don't want to miss out on any of that. All right, so Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio, Football Hall of Fame inducted a number of guys over the weekend, and it was nice that they let the old guys go first, like Gil Brandt and Johnny Robinson, because Tony Gonzalez was last, and that was probably about 4 hours after the ceremony started, and I can imagine that's a little bit of a grind. In any event, it's not so much about the Hall of Fame speeches. I'm just curious, when it comes to being a Super Bowl champ, an NFL vet, what the Hall of Fame, seeing guys that you played with, played against, seeing them go in, what's that like for you on a personal level?
It's just validation, for their career and what they've done. Especially when you see, first ballot guys like Tony Gonzalez and Ed Reed and, Champ Bailey, like guys like that, right. It's cool because it's almost surreal because, those guys I watched growing up, mm-hmm. and then I played the same time as they have. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to the Hall of Fame, so it's super cool.
So when you see that, and you know how great you had to be to have the career that you had, and anybody who, the competition is so fierce, the eye of the needle is so tiny for anybody just to make it as a pro, much less make it for double-digit years. When you look at what your abilities are, however you want to phrase that, and you look at their abilities, what do you see as the distinction between a Hall of Fame guy and a guy like you who had considerable success, reached the top of the mountain, fought through a lot of things, but how do you distinguish between those two? What do you think the difference is or was?
Well, I mean, I have made some, fantastic plays on the defense, special teams, which helped me because I had situations where I was like, okay, I'll be on the team. I might deal with some injuries, but then I'll make a couple of outstanding plays. It's like, okay, this is the Will we know, and then I had other intangibles, but then you take guys like Champ Bailey and, Ed Reed, I mean, they did that on a consistent basis. They did that year in and year out, and in their time frame, they dominated. Yeah. They always say the number one question when you enter a guy in the Hall of Fame is could you write history without them being mentioned? Right.
Right.
And that's the difference right there.
Right. See, I think that's the thing that makes it unique for me in talking to you about this, because you had the ability to make dynamic plays that maybe not every guy could make. It was, and so that in itself is special. And I just, again, some of it, and I hate to say that luck is a factor, and it probably isn't. It's sort of there's a inherent physical ability to stay healthy that some guys have that some guys don't?
No, but that's a huge deal. I remember my last year on the Redskins, I was talking to one player just about health. And I'm like, man, like it's guys, I always say guys pay you for durability, not ability. If you want, like you said, as people say, you want the bag, then you better have a ability and be durable.
Right.
Those are the guys that get broke off. But if you're just healthy, I mean, that's half the battle.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Just be available. I think it was Brandon Carr. He's the cornerback on the Ravens right now. And I think in his 4 years in Kansas City, I don't think he had any picks.
Yeah. I think you're right.
However, when he went to Dallas, he signed a $50 million deal. And the reason is he started all 16 games for 4 years as a rookie. His first, rookie year. All 16 games for 4 years. Actually, how about this? Since 2008, for 10 years, 11 years, he's never missed a game.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
That's for him. That's 176 games.
Yeah.
Never missed a game.
Now, how much is it? How much do you think it is? And obviously not, doesn't one size doesn't fit all, but guys who can still perform while hurt or injured, and guys who simply don't get injured to the same level where it compromises their ability to play. Like, which do you think is more common? That guys. Oh,
guys, yeah. The injury rate in the NFL is 100%. You're gonna get it is. You're gonna get hurt.
Right.
You're never gonna be 100% ever. I don't care who you are. Kickers, all. You're gonna be sore, tired. You're gonna have a strain. You're gonna have a hamstring pull. You're gonna have something. Yeah. For me, it was catastrophic. I had to have surgery.
Right.
You actually. There was one point it's so funny. Guys actually have surgeries all the time. I had to have reconstructive knee surgery twice. So obviously you can't do anything with that. But when we played the Bengals in London in 16, I made a tackle on AJ Green and I shattered my whole thumb. Okay. So I went in the x-ray room. They said it was, I broke it and dislocated it, flipped the knuckle pretty much. And they were like, okay, you're out. And I was like, well, I can still run.
Right.
So they cast it up and then they actually ended up needing me. But it was our bye week the next week. I went home the next day after the game, went for my pre-op appointment, and then the next day I had surgery.
Okay.
During our bye week, like a big surgery for my thumb. And then the next week came around, and I played that week.
And the rest of the season?
The rest of the season.
Wow.
So I had surgery in 2 days, and then I never missed another game that week. Well, I actually did because I got concussion one game, but I didn't miss a game for my thumb is the point.
Yeah.
There are sometimes guys may go have a quick knee scope, may go have a cleanup. And this is real operation though.
Now, do they report that? Do they have to report that? How does that work?
I believe they do, but it's.
But it's also the way they deliver it.
Yeah, unless it's truly keeping a guy out the game. Mine happened straight up in there, where it's damn, it could be something where maybe a guy had a pull and. It probably just got irritated. It's okay, we got to do something about this.
Right.
It didn't necessarily keep up the game.
Right.
But I feel like to answer your question, so many guys play through a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it. Sure. And so it's if you are healthy and you're available, you have more chances to make plays.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. How does that thumb work now?
My thumb is good.
Yeah. No issues?
Nah. Okay. No issues with the thumb.
The knuckle's not still backward.
Oh no, everything is golden. My thumb is great. Yeah, no problem, man.
Good.
I beat my son in a couple of thumb wrestling matches with my left hand.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Okay. The legend of Baker Mayfield continues. He was at an Indians game, and obviously the cameras found him, and he. In order to get everybody hyped up, somebody tossed him a beer can. he bit into it, and then he chugged part of it. He was wearing a Francisco Lindor jersey, let everybody know, turned around, pointed to it, got the crowd all hyped. The Cleveland Indians, lo and behold, have a rally, and they end up winning in the game. Yes, exactly. First of all, have you ever done that? Have you ever bitten into a can?
In college.
Okay. Okay. First of all, when I first saw it, or when I first heard about it, him chugging the beer.
It's called shotgunning a beer.
Yes, right. I thought, okay, what's going on? It's training camp, whatever. It was more for show than anything else. Yeah, he was having a beer while he was watching the game, and then he did this thing, but it wasn't like he shotgunned the whole thing. He did it for effect. But I just wonder, is this a big thing? Is it a little thing? Is it no thing? As far as we're in training camp, we're getting ready for the season, and yeah, taking in a game is one thing. Shotgunning beers and kind of being a crazy man is another thing. I don't know what the protocol is when it comes to training camp, or especially when you're somebody as high profile as Baker Mayfield. Let's put it this way. We've seen plenty of Aaron Rodgers and other guys, chugging beers and being in social situations.
Because it was in a respectable manner.
But it wasn't in training camp. You know what I mean? I guess that's the small distinction.
Right.
And again, I'm not comparing. I remember going through training camp in college, and I didn't have anything. I didn't drink so much as a beer during training camp. Now, as we celebrated training camp being over, and had a few, and I'll tell you what, man, they knocked me on my ass because I'd been training so hard. It was like one or two, and I was out. But again, I want to put this in proper context from a player's perspective in seeing Baker do that. Big deal, little deal, no deal.
No deal.
Nothing.
Oh, little deal. Just not even a deal. Yeah, no deal.
Okay. All right. Because I guarantee you, some people are going to make people are going to point to it and say this is he's got to grow up, or it's a leadership thing, or focus,
he's drinking
or
beer
whatever.
In training camp. You think nobody on the Raiders is drinking wine right now in Napa? They're having training camp in Napa. Okay, at the Marriott, which is right down the street from. There's wine everywhere. We'll see on Hard Knocks. I guarantee you, someone's drinking wine on Hard Knocks. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's no deal. My reason is because of one. He's an adult. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's an adult, and what he has done for the city of Cleveland. Not only did he play out of his mind, but he restored that city. He restored that franchise, which is why he was my pick for Rookie of the Year. Between 2010 and 2015, what was going on in Cleveland? And I say that because that's when LeBron left and then he came back. Nothing. They finished 13th in the East, 15th in the East consecutive times. Same thing, the Browns, they finished dead last in the AFC North consecutive seasons. Mm-hmm. And for the simple fact is, the reason why I say this is because when LeBron left the first time, right, Cleveland did horrible. Came back, restored it. Mm-hmm. LeBron left again.
Extenuating circumstances on that first time, but go ahead.
Yeah, of course. Right. I mean, LeBron left again. Yeah. And then for Baker to come in and now he's the face of that city to happen after somebody of LeBron's stature.
Right.
I think man, come on now, let him be him. I mean, it's like that. It's like anything. You're gonna have people that like you, people that don't. That's just part of your success.
Right.
And I respect him for being himself. I respect him for going against the grain. He almost has I know it's only year 2, but he kind of has the Gronk rule right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that it's no thing, but that it could become a big thing simply because I don't want to equate him doing that with whether he's preparing for the season appropriately or whether his focus or any of that. But I guarantee you that if he struggles or the Browns struggle or there's something comes up in which his focus or his preparation is questioned, then people are going to point back to this
Of course.
as an example of.
But that won't happen.
Okay, why not?
It won't happen.
Why not?
Because that's the type of player he is. That won't happen. Like he won't. He does a good job of managing all issues and distractions. You know, he knows how to handle adversity. He knows how to handle all situations. Like nothing really bothers him and phases him.
Okay,
and
but I get
that's
no, I get that, but
no, but I mean to the point where it's gonna get in the way of him. I'm not saying like he's fearless, like he doesn't care. He's gonna do what he wants. It's a difference in terms of being reckless.
Right.
It's his day off.
Right.
Let him chug a beer in his dorm room the night before practice.
No, I get that. I'm not.
No, but I mean like where and how he's doing it. You know, let him chug a beer right after practice or something like that. It's not reckless. It's a matter of like, okay, he's gonna do what he does.
Yeah,
I've been around plenty of guys who, when it's time to like go and prepare and study and train and play ball, like I'm here.
I get all that, and I'm not connecting those two. What I'm saying is, you give the critics out there ammo to come back at you on that you have to deal with when it happens. Like if something happens.
But my point is, I was saying this stuff because I'm saying that it's not going to happen.
He's not, even if the critics do come back on him with it, it's not going to distract him or get in his way.
And I don't think they can have it in their back pocket, but they're never going to have a reason to use it, is my whole point.
Okay.
It's going to stay there because he's going to ball out again.
Immense confidence in Baker Mayfield.
Immense confidence in Baker.
Will Blackman.
From day one.
Okay. Speaking of quarterbacks, I just saw this with ESPN. ESPN put out a ranking per position, which I actually appreciated. I think that has far more value than just doing a top 100 when you're mixing offensive players and defensive players, quarterbacks and tight ends and defensive backs and linebackers. It's like, come on, there's no way to, in my mind, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a way to take guys who have disparate roles and then rank them and do it in a way that has any meaning.
That's hard.
Because, well, I think it's impossible, especially if you're going to go 100 deep. If you want to take the most impactful 5 players in the league, okay, I might be able to find a way to figure out how I could make a case where that would have some reason and justification behind it. But when you go 100 deep, the difference between a guy who's ranked 57th and 73rd, and they're playing different positions on different teams, I'm like, you're just trying to utilize as many names as possible to create as big a pool as possible to draw as much interest as possible. That's what that's about. But that said,
you got to rank something. No, you just have to. That's just what it is. What it is.
I guess you do. I'm not. The ranking thing. The ranking thing is fun as long as it's not taken too seriously.
Oh my gosh.
But here's my question. When it came to quarterbacks, they had Patrick Mahomes ranked ahead of Aaron Rodgers, and they had Andrew Luck one spot ahead of Phillip Rivers. Rivers was 7th, Luck was 6th. I want to say Mahomes was 3rd, and Rodgers was 4th. Brady and Breeze were 1 and 2. So I ask you, are you down with that? Are you putting Mahomes ahead of Aaron Rodgers at this stage?
Right now, yeah.
You are?
Right now, yeah, for the simple fact that he's the MVP. Simple as that.
How much does MVP, though, have to do with the collective success of your team?
He was the team. They had the worst. They had the worst defense in the NFL. The worst. They had 31 overall in the 32nd ranked secondary. The absolute worst.
I don't know if they were I don't think they were the worst.
Huh?
I don't think they were the worst ranked defense.
All right.
You're bringing this up, and I have to research this while the show's going on, which I never like to do, but
You don't like?
but I'm having a hard time buying that. Okay, well let's.
I was having a hard time buying it.
Because they made the playoffs.
Exactly. That's my whole point.
They didn't make the playoffs just because of Patrick Mahomes. And by the way, can we talk about some of the other offensive weapons around him?
Oh, the one that got suspended? Yeah.
Even if you're just going to go offense was the reason that they got there, I can't give that all to Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, they had the second worst defense.
Yes. Were the Raiders at the bottom? Who was at the bottom?
Oh, the Bengals.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so
the second their defense was giving up 400 yards a game.
I get all that, but if I look at Aaron Rodgers, the division that he's playing in, the conference that he's playing in, what he had around him. I mean, they didn't have running backs, wide receivers. I look at what he had to do for the Packers to be competitive, and I can't immediately go to Mahomes winning MVP automatically vaults him ahead of Aaron Rodgers. Do I think he can be better? Do I think he's the closest?
Going into 2019, yes.
It feels too soon to me. All right, let's jump to the other one. Because I mean, this is the thing with lists is we can come up with a million different things. I guess
right now, do you have Zeke ahead of Saquon?
Do I have Zeke ahead of Saquon? Whew. Yes, I do.
You do.
Yes.
Why? Because it's too soon?
Yes.
You sticking to your guns?
Yes.
Because it's too soon?
Yes, it's too soon.
Now could Saquon be better? Could Saquon be better than Zeke by the end of the year?
Yes, he could be.
Okay.
Oh, but that's not what we're talking about.
No, we're not.
We're not. And this is what happens: is nobody wants to be late.
By the end of last year, Pat Mahomes was better than him.
Better than Aaron Rodgers.
Last year he was.
By the end of last year.
Yes.
I don't think that's been proved. I think he's made some great plays, but when I look at all of the things that Aaron Rodgers has demonstrated, particularly here's the distinction that I make. Aaron Rodgers on the move can thread a needle. And yes, I'm using that analogy twice here in the same podcast.
Listen,
Can put the ball
the guy who you know what Aaron Rodgers does well? He goes to his left.
Okay.
And he could throw a rifle.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But how about a guy who rolls to his left and throws it with his left?
Okay. But
you need to rewatch some games from last year.
Okay, well, and you do the same because here's the thing.
I'm not doing the same.
How many times has Mahomes on the run had to make a pass into a squeezed space?
A lot.
No, I would say it's the reverse. He escapes, he throws up the ball, and Tyreek Hill gets it.
You can't throw it up to Tyreek Hill. Either Tyreek's wide open or he's not.
That's right. Tyreek Hill ends up being wide open because nobody can catch him. He just heaves it. Tyreek Hill goes and gets it.
You have the worst defense and the number one offense.
See, now we're compensating.
That's my whole point, though. And you still go to the AFC Championship game with that awful. And guess how they lost it? They lost it on defense because I think D Ford was it who jumped off sides.
Okay, the Packers had neither a good defense or a good offense.
Man, they were in turmoil anyway. They fired their head coach halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And they still finished 12th.
Gives you a reflection of just you're talking about the Packers.
Yes.
Yes. You're talking about that. To me, all of that is a reflection of what Aaron Rodgers had to deal with.
Everybody's blaming Aaron Rodgers for why he got fired.
Yeah, and blaming him for everything. I mean, it is open season on Aaron Rodgers right now, and I'm going to push back on that.
Green Bay finished 12th offensively and 15th as in like the worst defensively.
Right.
Come on, man.
What?
They finished 18th overall defense.
Right.
The Chiefs were awful.
I'm not saying they weren't awful.
That's what you don't get. They were horrendous.
I'm not saying that.
Just like the 2000, they say 2000 Ravens is probably the best defense of all time. Most of them say the 85 Bears. But 2000, why? Because they can't name anything they did on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So why would they be considered the best defense of all time? Because pretty much they won all the damn games on defense.
Are you now leaning toward calling the Chiefs' offense one of the greatest of all time?
No, I'm stating my case why Mahomes is my homie.
All right.
Okay.
Luck.
50 touchdowns.
Luck ahead of Phillip Rivers.
12 TD. 50, 5,000 yards passing. 50 touchdowns.
Here we go. No, I'm not going to. I'm not. You can throw all the stats you want.
He doubled Aaron Rodgers' touchdowns. Doubled.
Who was Aaron Rodgers throwing to? Who was Aaron Rodgers throwing to?
Devontae Adams and Jimmy Graham.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What? No. This isn't Jimmy Graham from like freaking 4 years ago. This is Jimmy Graham who's bounced around the league at this point.
Jimmy Graham just had 10 TDs the year before with Russell Wilson. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll move on because I can do this all day. Come on. Phillip Rivers or Andrew Luck? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, double-digit touchdowns. Anyway. Talking about 4 years ago. Get it together. Okay. But by the way, Jimmy Graham's the luckiest man alive. Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers.
Luckiest men alive?
For a receiver? To get those three?
Yeah.
You know who else is lucky too? Brandon Cooks. He had Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Goff. Last year, Goff.
That's pretty good.
Anyhow, are you
trying to tell me that Jimmy Graham is as good now as he was 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think he's still good. I think Travis Kelce's better.
That's not what I asked.
No, but we're comparing in terms of like weapons.
Okay.
Because you said, who does he have?
Yeah.
Versus Mahomes.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Look at all of the talent that Mahomes has around him compared to what Aaron has around him. It's not a fair comparison.
Okay.
Especially if you're going to go to numbers.
Okay.
You kind of gave up on that easily. All right. Luck versus Rivers.
Andrew Luck.
Why?
For your simple fact, what you just said.
What?
Look what's around them. I mean, you know what though? T.Y. is probably the most underrated receiver in the NFL. T.Y. Hilton. Marlon Mack is outstanding. However, he does have the best O-line in football right now.
Now.
He does. And if you give him time, very, very dangerous. He threw for more yards than Phillip Rivers last year.
I get all that. Although Rivers was selected to the Pro Bowl ahead of him. And then when Rivers bailed, Luck took his place. Again, when we talk about playing through injury and everything else, Rivers' durability, it goes back to our original. I mean, Rivers'
his durability where though? Like what?
Rivers has been able to suit up and play.
When he had an ACL injury?
Yeah. I mean, and as you said, like all the nicks and dings that as much as he gets hit, you're going to tell me he hasn't played with things that aren't necessarily banner headlines?
No, he's famous for that one playoff game versus New England. I think it's the AFC Championship game where he played with a torn ACL.
Okay.
Yeah, because right now he has the longest streak for games.
That in itself, I can't put Andrew ahead of him because I haven't been able to count on whether he's going to be there or not.
If you can't throw the football, then what are you going to do? Andrew Luck had no shoulder.
I understand that. If you're asking me who I think has the better skill set, I can say Andrew Luck. I think he
better skill set.
Yes, I think he can do more things than Phillip Rivers can. I think he's a better athlete. But if you're counting durability and availability as part of the equation, I can't put Andrew ahead of him. It can't be pure ability. If we're just looking at the prism of pure ability, it goes back to what we were talking about with the Hall of Fame. There are guys that have done things that other guys simply can't do. But there are guys who are there and available. You just talked about Carr and getting the deal that he got. I mean, there's a value in just being there on a consistent basis. And Rivers gives me that, and he gives it to me enough versus what Andrew has given. And I'm a big fan of Andrew Luck. I still think he can come back and be a great quarterback. I'm pulling for that.
He already did do that.
What, this last year?
Yes.
Very good.
He came back and lit it up.
Very good.
Lit it up.
Very good.
40. He threw more than yards than Phillip Rivers last year.
Okay, again.
Lit it up.
The way
after missing
Chargers offense,
the
way the Chargers offense operates versus the way the Colts offense operated.
In terms of what?
In terms of what they're going to rely on the most. Are they relying on Rivers throwing the ball as much as the Colts were relying on Luck to throw the ball?
Luck threw the ball damn near 500 times last year.
Okay.
That is insane.
That's right. That's right.
Which that's not they want to be able to run the ball.
That's right, but they couldn't. Which is why his numbers would be so huge.
It's not that they couldn't, it's because he was playing so well.
It's because It's because they couldn't run the ball.
Bro, they were playing so well. If your quarterback is hot, you don't need to do anything else.
If you're trying to protect Andrew Luck,
you're not trying to protect him, though.
You're trying to balance that. I would hope that they're trying to protect Andrew Luck at this stage.
Marlon Mack almost had a 1,000-yard season last year.
Okay.
He ran for 908.
Okay.
Because they had a running back up by committee. They had the other guy, Nyheim Hines, also too. They did a lot of throwing to them because Nyheim Hines had I think he had almost 70 receptions receiving.
Did I say that? If I said the San Diego Chargers, I apologize. I don't know that I'll ever get that out of my head.
That's okay. But they did run the ball last year. They had 1,700 yards total, with them running the ball between their three running backs.
How many yards?
1,700 yards rushing between their three running backs. Marlon Mack had 4.7 yards per carry. Okay? And Andrew Luck went off. Still. I want to hear that. That tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just looking at what...
Phillip Rivers threw the ball 500 times last year.
I know.
How many times did Andrew Luck throw the ball? Probably 639. He was trying to prove... They were trying to prove that his shoulder is just fine.
That's right.
Yeah, and it is.
And how many yards did Luck throw for?
4,600 yards.
So with those additional 100-some throws, he only threw for 100 more yards or so than Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, they both had six yards. Phillip had 6.3 yards per. No, that was a TD ratio.
Yeah, no, he had 8.5 per pass.
Yes, 8.5 per pass.
With and how many TDs did Luck throw for?
Why you say it like that?
I'm just curious.
Huh?
I'm just curious since you're pulling out his stats.
39.
39. Okay.
To Phillip's 32.
Yeah.
I like Luck.
I know. I won't go into QBR or any of that stuff. I won't get into that. We won't get into that. Again, here's my whole point. I mean, this is again where we can chew over all the stats we want. Bottom line is availability. You said it yourself. Availability, durability, those things count. And I think they count more in football maybe than in any other sport. They're certainly important in every sport, but I think especially in football, the ability to play injured, the ability to stay healthy is just a tremendous factor that I'm going to weigh more heavily than Will Blackman. All right, last thing I want to get into.
Andrew Luck had, in his, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, he's had 4 10-plus wins.
Well, before he got hurt, He was on a roll. It was amazing.
And then he
what
came
was
back
doing.
and jumped into double digits. Phillip Rivers has one. And how many years he played? Was it 15?
Seasons. I had two seasons where Andrew Luck basically couldn't play.
One season he couldn't play. Phillip only won 10+ games 4 times his whole career.
Okay, again, what now we're going to look at career stats. I'm not talking Hall of Fame here.
That's my whole point about the whole Aaron Rodgers Mahomes thing.
Yes, what?
Overall better quarterback
ability as of right now. As of right now, you got
right now.
So here's the thing.
That's everything
being equal.
That's my whole point.
Everything being equal.
That's my whole
You got to
point.
win. You got to You got to win a game tomorrow.
Patrick. Done deal.
Wow. Okay. I'm going the other way.
Patrick's in the zone right now.
I'm going the other way.
You don't know what he's going to get with Aaron Rodgers and LaFleur. You don't know what's going to happen.
I've got that relationship. My guy has more experience in pressure situations by far than Mr. Mahomes. By far. So if I need to win a game, I'm going to go to the guy who has more experience in I got to win a game. All right. I want to get to we'll leave
because guess what? When he won the game, he had a top 5 defense. Aaron Rodgers did when he was winning.
Okay, here we go.
Top 5 defense.
I'm letting this go. I'm leaving
top 5 defense. He did. At one, I think 2009, they were number 1. You give me Charles Woodson on the other side, I'm winning the damn Super Bowl. All right. You give me a fresh Clay Matthews, we're winning the damn Super Bowl. All right. You give me 2 Pro Bowl safety defensive backs. That's why they went and got a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. And Steve, they fired their coordinator, to my point.
Did the Chiefs win the Super Bowl? I missed that.
What do you mean?
You're talking about as if these two things were equal and the Packers got it done because of other guys. The Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes didn't accomplish what the Packers did. So why are we making that comparison?
My thing is because the Packers had a top 5 defense.
At that time. We're not comparing that year.
But I'm just saying when he did get a ring, when Aaron Rodgers, he had a top 5 defense. Pat Mahomes had the word. That's why they fired their coordinator, because they knew it wasn't Mahomes. Mahomes is why they got there. That's why he got MVP, because he's the reason they had a chance. I don't know how you don't see that.
I am not discounting
You're disagreeing
the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not even sure I would argue with Patrick Mahomes being the MVP. I'm just saying his being selected as MVP, I'm not going to use...
I would argue the MVP.
You would? With who?
Aaron Donald.
Okay, you'd argue it, but would you ultimately... You wouldn't pick Aaron Donald. Todd Gurley and Jared Goff, and there's too many other guys that...
No, there's not.
That contributed to the Rams' success?
Okay, everybody contributes, but you have to pick an MVP.
Okay. And you would pick Aaron Donald. You would pick Aaron Donald over Patrick Mahomes.
I did, actually.
Did you really?
Dude, he single-handedly won games.
You're just full of surprises on this podcast.
He single-handedly won games. He actually beat the Rams. He beat the Chiefs. He beat Mahomes by himself.
Oh, by himself. You don't even believe that. You don't even believe that.
All right, dude. Okay.
That he beat him by himself.
All those damn turnovers on defense that turned the points was because he hit Mahomes.
All right, we have to wrap this up, and I want to ask you one more thing before we go. Can you let this go now?
Yep.
Carmelo Anthony made the media circle or went on ESPN to plead his case about still wanting to play in the league, still capable of playing in the league. I don't dispute any of that. Des Bryant's a guy from the NFL side of things that I thought the same thing. Capable of still playing in the league from a talent perspective. But because of the question of whether he would be happy and content in the role that his talent now would suggest, teams are just steering clear. It's not worth it, is the view. Now, I ask you this because I'm curious, because I feel as if from a physical standpoint, you would make the case, you know what, I can still play in the league. And yet, you're not. And the circumstances are different. But that said, how do you feel when you see a Carmelo Anthony pleading his case and saying, I should still be playing, when somewhere in the back of your head, you're thinking the same thing?
The question is, does he help teams win games?
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to make your team better?
Mm-hmm.
That is the question. Same thing with Dez. Fantastic player.
Mm-hmm.
Unreal talent. Is he going to make our team better?
Right.
That's at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. You know? So teams are looking at it and ultimately deciding if that's the case. You know, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it going to help us improve? You know? In my case, am I going to make a team better? You goddamn right. Okay?
Right.
I am.
Right.
I mean, Redskins were 4-12 in 14. I got released from Seattle. They brought me in. We went 9-7. I was starting at corner. We won a division. Thank you very much. The next year, we're 8-6-1. We have one game left. I'm starting at safety. We have one game left to go. I mean, it's in our hands. Beat the Giants, which we already did, and go into the playoffs. Defense, we held the Giants to, I think, like, defensively to 10 points.
Right.
That's Odell. That's everybody. Cruz, all of them out there to 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
My man Kirk.
That's the game where I came off of Kirk. I'll tell you right now.
Like my dog Kirk, man. Throwing them picks, bro. Man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did help, you know. Same thing when I was in Jacksonville. They kept rotating corners. Eventually, you know, I went out there. It was tough in Jacksonville, though, because we just weren't a good team. I'm not going to bring that up.
Right.
That was not good.
Well, so this is the reason I asked the question.
I go to the Giants. We win the Super Bowl. What's up, baby?
Right. Here's the thing. If I were in your shoes and I had your career and I brought the intangibles that you bring to the table. If I heard somebody like Carmelo Anthony saying, man, I know I can still, are you telling me that there are, you know, I can't make the rotation, that there are 10 guys on every team that are better than me?
There aren't.
Correct.
There aren't. But there are 10 guys who we value more.
Exactly. And see, this is the thing. If I were you, I'd be like, dude, don't tell me about talent. I know your talent, but I did everything right. And I'm on the outside looking in.
That's what's crazy. You can do all the right things and it don't even matter. That's what's so weird about professional sports, especially in football. You can do everything right. You can, be versatile, do the right thing. You can lead, you can make plays, and then it don't matter.
Yep.
Or you can be talented, but you're expensive. You're cap. You know, there's cap issues, or there's so much going on with you where the teams will still keep on because it looks good because you're talented.
Right.
You look at somebody who keeps winning every year in and year out. New England.
Yeah.
Because they have value.
Right.
They have guys who are interchangeable, who have value, and who understand the mission of that team.
Well, they also, like a guy with Carmelo, probably got a rope longer than expected because
he can score.
He could score, but also he is an attraction. He's a viable name that people would pay to come watch.
Yeah, you'll pay for it. They'll pay for it now, and you'll pay for it later.
Exactly. And the Patriots work off of a different model. Like, yeah, they have the Tom Bradys that ultimately that's what you come to see. But they are a throwback, and they're like, we're going to build a team that you're going to want to watch because we win, because of how we play. And there are plenty of teams who operate from the model of we're going to build a team that is going to be exciting, is going to attract people to watch, not necessarily because they win, but simply because we are an entertaining team. Losing team, but an entertaining team. All right, that does it for this episode of Bucher and Blackman battling to the end. No, it's Bucher and Blackman subsidiary of Bucher and Friends, part of the United WeCast network. In the next podcast, part 4 of my stories about the Warriors' old home. Don't forget, we love and appreciate you rating the show. If you want us to do something for you, take that rating, iTunes, wherever you get it, screenshot it, send it to @BucherFriends, and you'll be eligible to win some prizes. All right. That does it. For Will, for myself, as always, thanks for listening.